Minecraft 1.17's new tinted glass and powder snow will change farms forever in this game, and here's why. Also, if you like what you see here, then consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by December, and we're kind of on track to hit that. I think it would be close, so consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out, and I greatly appreciate it. The first two snapshots for Minecraft 1.17 have each added 2 new blocks that we're going to be talking about. The first one added tinted glass, and the second one that came out yesterday added powder snow. Both of these are extremely helpful even on their own, and when combined, I think they're going to revolutionize farming. So let's start with the tinted glass. So you probably already know this, you may not, but tinted glass completely blocks out light. You can see through it, but it does not let light in. That's why there is the weird sort of like shadow effect on the ground there. It's because it's actually a light level of 0. If you close this off, you can see that the sky and block level of light are both 0, and that means obviously any mobs can spawn in here, even like in daylight. You could see through it, but 0 light will go in. An example of how this is extremely useful is this mob farm here. And normally when you think of mob farms, you think of sort of the diamond platform shapes with a gigantic roof overhead, but now you can actually just use tinted glass as the walls. It still allows you to see in, and it also doesn't let light in. And you may be thinking that tinted glass is going to be a pain to get, it's going to be too expensive to use in large quantities, but it's actually not going to be that bad because it's just glass combined with amethyst shards, and I already created a farm that can fully AFK farm amethyst shards from amethyst crystals. And if you're interested in that, you can go click the link in the upper right hand corner, but that's not what we're talking about today. Anyways, it's not actually going to be that hard to get amethyst crystals to make the tinted glass, so I don't see getting large quantities of tinted glass being a problem. This right here is a lightning rod charged creeper farm that I made a tutorial on recently as well. You can go check that out, but it's also just powered by a simple mob farm. It is modified to actually kill the spiders. That's what the soul sand and wither roses are for, but just a normal mob farm. Like take Mumbo Jumbo's massive industrial district mob farm. It has a ridiculously huge roof over the top of it so that it's all dark in there, but you can still see. If you didn't want to do that and you had lots of tinted glass, you could just build up walls around it. It would look pretty cool, it wouldn't have to be so big, and it would serve the same purpose. Tinted glass even by itself is going to be incredibly useful, but now let's go talk about the powdered snow, and then we'll combine the two, and I already have an example set up for the perfect scenario for using powdered snow and tinted glass combined. One that I think illustrates quite nicely how tinted glass and powdered snow combine to revolutionize Minecraft farms. So this powdered snow, you can get it from leaving cauldrons out in the snow. Like if it's snowing, obviously not in the desert, but it'll fill up the cauldron with powdered snow, and then you can use a normal bucket to remove the powdered snow. I guess you can't really do that in creative, but in survival that would give you a powdered snow bucket. Then you can place it down, and it's just a block that you can walk into. It actually has a lot of the properties of a liquid as opposed to a solid block, although it is still counted as a block. When you go inside of it, if your head is in powdered snow, like just the lower half of your body doesn't matter, but if your head is in the powdered snow, you will start freezing. You'll get that like little ice overlay on your screen, and your FOV will zoom in, and in a second or two you'll start taking freezing damage. As you can see, you'll start freezing. But the thing is if you remove this bottom layer here, now obviously you stepped out, it'll start to go away, but if you step back into it, you will start to freeze again because only your head needs to be inside of this. And this so far works for all kinds of mobs. I even tested polar bears, and polar bears still take freezing damage. As wacky as that may sound, but yeah. Anyways, also I tested a blaze. Blazes and zombie pigmen still take damage, or zombified piglins, and all of like the normal mobs like zombies and those guys will take freezing damage if they stand too long in the powdered snow. And now you'd be thinking, oh, that's great, but how is that useful for a farm? But one thing that I discovered when playing around with this yesterday is that items pass through powdered snow. So if we take a zombie, let's take this zombie, let's dump the zombie in there, and I'm just gonna deal some damage to it real fast so that it will actually freeze faster. So if we watch here and wait for this zombie to freeze, we can actually remove that. You should start freezing soon, and when the zombie dies, his items will end up in here. So I'm just gonna have this open, and I already hit him twice with the axe. As you can see, it put the rotten flesh in there. So the items passed directly through the powdered snow. As you can see, the powdered snow bucket went in there. and then it went straight into the hopper. I've noticed that there may be a visual bug, like I can even remove the glass, but it doesn't actually display the item coming out of the powdered snow. It like phases through it. It's a little bit weird, but that works with like all kinds of mobs. Let's put a skeleton in there. So if we put a skeleton in there and then deal a lot of damage, the skeleton will also freeze. There we go. See, the arrows and the bones just went straight into the hopper. So what this means is, if you don't want to deal with magma blocks or cactus or lava, you can literally just use a powdered snow instead. If you don't want to deal with the cactus, like destroying items accidentally, or the lava being dangerous, destroying items, you can also just use powdered snow. If you don't want to deal with magma blocks and water over them and a bunch of annoying stuff that comes along with that, like the entities swimming sometimes and hopper minecarts underneath, and like it gets a lot more annoying, powdered snow is another option for mob farms and killing mobs. And so now I'm going to show you my example that combines tinted glass and powdered snow to create the ultimate new and improved mob farming system. So right here is an example of a base built underground centered around a dungeon. And I'm sure many of us can relate to this. I myself have built plenty of bases around a dungeon. I think it's a pretty common thing. But also a common thing when having to build bases in your dungeon is you have to obviously remove the mobs, and you have to deal with light going into the dungeon. If you want to have your base like right here in a nice big glass window, it's kind of difficult to put light nearby because it's just going to affect the rates of this. Obviously it's still spawning, but about half of the area nearby is not spawnable. And this isn't even like torch spam, this is kind of like decorative lighting. So a lot of bases, you just have torches all over the ground, stuff like this, and it's even lighter, you can see there. So the first step in fixing this is to swap out the normal glass with tinted glass. There we go. Now that it is tinted glass, we have a light level of 0 everywhere in here, and we can go back in here happily with our light level of like 15, and we can look in here and still see everything happening, and it is a light level of 0. Not to mention that tinted glass looks pretty dope in my opinion. But that's not all. As you can see, we don't have a killing system set up for the skeleton, so obviously we could use something like magma blocks or even iron golems to get creative. We could use stuff like cactus or maybe lava. But literally the easiest solution for this, all that you have to actually do is just put some powdered snow here. Just take your buckets of powdered snow, and as you can see, they're all just getting pushed into the powdered snow, and they're all taking freezing damage now. I'm gonna change the difficulty to peaceful briefly and put a torch here so we can see. So what you want to do now is just place a line of hoppers underneath here, and all the drops are just gonna get instantly picked up by these hoppers. And then obviously we can put these hoppers, like the output, to wherever we want. Also, if you're wondering what this junk is, it's what I actually got from the dungeon. There is a notch apple, which is pretty cool. And apparently, tinted glass, you can still open chests with it. So right here, I'm just gonna make like a little area. It's not actually gonna lead to anything like specific, but we'll just cover that up with tinted glass. But now that's where all the items will go. So if I remove these torches and we head back into here, set the difficulty to hard. Oops, difficulty hard. We'll see that plenty of skeletons start spawning now. There's no light, and they just get instantly pushed into that powdered snow, and then they sit there and they will slowly take freezing damage. And we can even get ourselves a spyglass to better view it. Oh, it looks like the overlay has been changed. I can't tell if I like that better or not. It's a little bit more difficult to see with it. Anyways, that's beside the point. As you can see, the skeletons, they're out here, they're taking damage. Let's actually go check on the collection system. Now that we have night vision, we can actually see just fine here. We can watch the skeletons right here, and they're all gonna slowly freeze. The one thing about this powdered snow is that it is not fast. However, if there's a constant supply of skeletons, there's always gonna be just like a constant supply of skeletons that are like also dying as other ones like arrive and start taking damage. At the start it's slower, but then once there's a constant supply, it just kind of all works out. So some of them just died, and we can see that the items are getting collected here. Literally all that this required was just some powdered snow and some hoppers. It's literally the simplest mob farming technique that is available in Minecraft right now. There's no risk of items getting burned. There's no risk of items getting deleted in Cactus. You don't have to deal with magma blocks. And combined with Tinted Glass, we have the perfect early game starter dungeon base. This, in my opinion, illustrates perfectly all of the new possibilities and potentials that are going to be involved with powdered snow and tinted glass. Obviously, there's way more complicated ways that you can use this in more complex farms, but this is a very sort of simple and obvious example of how this would work well. It could obviously be applied to large scale farms like I talked about earlier. Well, hopefully you guys have found that useful and have some good ideas for stuff that you're going to use the tinted glass and powdered snow for. But I'll definitely be using this farming technique for new farms in the future that involve removing entities, because it's extremely easy and effective. The powdered snow, great for killing the mobs. The tinted glass, it's great for making the mobs spawn while also allowing you to see, and it looks pretty stylish. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said before, consider leaving a like if you enjoyed and subscribing. I'm trying to get to 3,000 by the end of December, and we're close, and we're kind of on track, but I need your guys' help. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I've been Steve, and I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Bye!